Hey, welcome guys back to the channel. I'm your host Maverick, where today we are catching up to Shoumetsu Toshi episode 7. So, in case you guys didn't catch it last episode, I was on vacation in Japan over the weekend, and so it kind of got into my normal schedule of uploading and stuff. I can't really do these kinds of videos while I'm abroad, right? But in any case, I'm back now, and I'm getting this episode out before we get to the next episode. And while I was there in Japan, I actually did go to a lot of places where they did stuff, anime shops, game shop, or related merchandise shops, the otaku culture shops, if you will. To be honest, I didn't really find anything related with Shoumetsu Toshi. I do believe that when I went to the record store, I saw some singles from SPR5, which is apparently part of this franchise, although I still have no idea why. But beyond that, I didn't really see much in regards to that. So, sorry for you guys, but I don't really have much to share there. Now, I do know that the game of Shoumetsu Toshi, or After Lost, is hosting its somewhere near its fifth anniversary, right? It's been ongoing for 5 years now. 10 million people play it, or downloaded it, anyways. And I believe they're doing a anniversary event on Sunday. So I will link the live stream in the description below if you guys can catch it. Maybe you'll be interested in watching it. They got some of the cast from the anime, from the game, where I guess they might do some stuff in regards to the anime or the game, right? But in any case, what we are at the story so far, we've learned about Yuki's backstory already, right? And now we're finally going to learn a little bit more about Takuya. At least that's what I presume this episode would be, based on what the cliffhanger that we left on from last episode, and whether or not he is actually involved with the agency, with the orphanage and whatnot. How does he relate to this situation at hand, right? Why is he one of the main characters? So, without further ado, let us get into the episode. And let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. No, a scam. I've heard about this. When you go to some of these clubs, they'll basically open a bottle for you, and they'll have the small print that says, "Oh, you're supposed to do a certain amount of pay for a certain amount of services, even if you didn't really want to." Okay. I thought this guy was with the police. Sort of like the relationship between these mafia dudes, or the underground business, and the police. A lot of the business in the red light districts, they have some special relations with the local law enforcement. Alright, let me skip this real quick. I'll see you guys in a second. And back. Regret. No, and they're teaming up. Trying to take down the agency. Okay. Takuya's passed. Alright. because of this guy? I am. Do tell. Okay, so he rescued this guy? And so now he's part of the detective agency or something? Why though? Like... But why did he scout you though? Really? What? Hmm. Okay. So he did go to the orphanage before. Infiltrating? So that means... So that means he was sort of like an employee there for some time. Oh, what? Oh, is that one of the effects? I guess this is their Tamashi? Oh. So this is how the orphanage was before? Wait, but are these peers of... Yeah, Tamashi. Mm-hmm. So if this is the case, then they need to... It's normally because they have some regret or hope. Yeah. Wait, what? You can actually see yourself in this world? But I thought they actually kind of existed in this world because they can interact with them. Hmm? Oh yeah, like I was saying, he attended this, didn't he? So I guess he's like a senpai to them. Wait, they can actually. What? How does this make sense? So there's two Takuyas and nobody's. What? Mm-hmm. Medicine. Mm. So what were the pills of? Hmm. Hmm? Just I don't know. Oh. Hmm. Hmm. Why is the like the animation is really, I don't know, this is because they were bought by the agency. They're aligning with the agency. So And I like how they can just, stand around here and nobody notices them. Like, that is definitely. This is all sorts of. So her regret was she was never able to. Wait, is that her regret? Or is that Takuya's regret? Oh, this is. Hmm. I mean, I think Kaibara probably did it to protect the agency and protect them. You might want to check the birdhouse. Yeah, that was pretty obvious. But what are you going to accuse them of? You haven't actually uncovered any. You don't have any direct evidence of abuse. No. Hmm. She's having some sass. Oh. Alright. Hmm. At least we got a lot of answers this episode, so I can't complain too much. Alright, I'll see you guys after the ending. Alrighty, so we finally got a lot of answers in regards to Takuya's past, and as well as the relationship between the orphanage and the agency and whatnot, and how it all interconnects together, right? So that's a plus I will give for this episode. It's actually fairly coherent for once in what it's trying to say, and it's pretty straightforward, and for that I give it, I give it a few claps, alright? Now, I do have some issues still with the, like, I'm not entirely sold on the concept of, okay, these Tamashi create this fake world, but then they can still interact with our characters, and if you think about it, it's like free grown men snooping around on an orphanage on private property, and they're not really being sneaky about it at all, judging from the animation, so I'm not completely sold on that part. But I think more than that, a bigger and more serious issue I have with this anime is in that I feel like they missed out on a good opportunity to really give some character to Takuya, right? So, by all means, if this was a good anime, they would have drawn out this arc to at least have 2 episodes and maybe 3 episodes. Because, at the end of the day, they didn't really do anything to further expand on Takuya's character, right? So we know that he was recruited by this head of this detective agency, became an agent, and then infiltrated this place, right? But we don't know how his character was like before he entered this agency, and we also don't know, like, what is the significance of him being in the orphanage, right? Like, what was the impact that the teacher Hinako had on him? What was the impact that the children had on him to make him feel so regretful as present day Takuya, right? He's obviously regretful that he couldn't save them somehow, he couldn't help them, but why, right? Like, what kind of relationship does he actually have with this? They sort of hint at it. They sort of like assume, they want us to assume that this is it, and so they draw all these scenes of him being like very regretful, being very angry at himself or whatnot. But the thing is, that's just too shallow, right? Because we haven't actually seen any of their true interactions and how they maybe slowly changed or warmed their way into Takuya's heart. It makes it feel very superficial and just not very impactful in any way, right? So that is, like, think about it. If this was a good anime, or if this had a good backstory to it, like maybe originally Takuya was some good for nothing. Maybe he's more heartless, or he's more serious and whatnot. He only cares about duty and jobs and things, so he just listens to what the agency or the detective agency wants him to do. And then when he came to the orphanage, he started to open up to these children, open up to the teacher, open up to Hinako. Maybe they had some interactions and whatnot, and so that they could gradually Takuya warmed up to them, right? And so it's like a kind of mutual feeling, right? Because on Hinako's side, she also wavered in her belief that she was taught by the agency, by the director of the school, right? The principal of the school. And so eventually she leaned towards Takuya's side. So we didn't really get to see that whole process, which I feel like is just such a waste of an opportunity. This entire backstory had the opportunity to be really, really good and impactful and emotional, but instead it's about as shallow as a puddle of water, if I'm being honest here, right? So it's just like, I don't know, is it a case of budget issues? Is it a story writing issue? Is the original work really this shallow as well? I don't know, right? Because I haven't really played the game or whatnot, and the director isn't really a well-known director to me. I've never seen any of his other works, so I can't really speak on that end. But I'm just saying, this kind of topic has been done numerous times before, right? So in a way, you can also say it's cliche, but even if it's cliche, there's still a way to make it good and draw out emotional response from people. In this case, no, it did not do that. In fact, it felt very, very forced in a certain manner. Like, I get it. I know what Takuya is supposed to feel. I know what we're supposed to view Takuya as, view his feelings and whatnot. But it's just, it's more implied, right? You have to leave it a lot to your own imagination and just assume that this is how Takuya is right now, instead of us actually seeing it and experiencing it and being able to feel sympathetic towards our main characters. So I feel like that is my biggest issue with this episode. Again, I don't really want to sound like a guy that complains too much. I don't want to flame this anime, even though there's plenty of stuff worth flaming. But in any case, I just felt like, it's such a waste. It's just a waste of an opportunity for this entire backstory portion. Beyond that, right? So right now they have some more evidence in regards to how the agency ties in with the orphanage and whatnot, and they're going around saying, okay, now we got evidence, we know their ties. But again, I feel like this is looking at it from too shallow of a perspective as well. So you've only proven that the agency is somehow donating money to this orphanage. That doesn't mean that they are behind the children torture and abuse and whatnot. It doesn't mean that they're engaging in illegal activities, right? It could be just for charity. Like if you went to the agency right now and say, hey, look, I know that you guys have a relationship with this orphanage, they could say, well, we are a big corporation, we do our corporate social responsibility, we send donations to these orphanages to help the needy, right? So not really, I don't think they really have a good case there. Definitely a lot more evidence is needed, some direct evidence of the agency doing some shady things, doing some illegal human experiments, and so on and so forth, right? So we're still very, very far from anything that actually has a case in court, if you will. But at the very least, again, we solve a lot of the mysteries in regards to how all of these things are related, and we also know about Takuya's past as well, although it could be better, right? So I think these are the biggest takeaways I have from this episode so far. Alright, so moving on, what's going to happen next? Well, again, I don't really know. Nothing much was said. I guess they might want to investigate the principal or something, and it also looks like Yuki's brother is about to awaken. Maybe they can get some answers from him as well. So, again, moving forward, trying to piece together the puzzle one piece at a time, eventually leading them to toppling the agency, right? Although, since the game is still ongoing and whatnot, I'm just going to assume that that's not going to happen anytime soon. But, in any case, that's been episode 7 of Shoumetsu Toshi. Again, I like the direction that the anime went in, I just feel like they didn't do enough. So, as it stands, it only went from, bad to maybe mediocre, or mediocre to somewhat acceptable, right? But if they could have just pushed it a little bit more, they had a chance for this to be great. But they blew it. So, nah. I guess we really shouldn't set our bar too high for this anime so far, because it's definitely not doing a good job of raising the bar itself. I'll tell you that. But in any case, that's been my review, and I will see you guys next time. Again, since I'm already on episode 7, I might as well see this thing through, even if it turns out to be a train wreck in the end. It's not that far away from being a train wreck right now, let me just put it this way. Like I said, I don't want to bash it, but it's just not very good at the current stage. No, in regards to the animation, in regards to the character development, in regards to the storytelling, the pacing, there's a lot of problems. And you can see the potential here. It's an interesting subject, but I just don't know, like, what exactly the problem is. Is it because the director is new? Is it really a budget issue? Is it because they don't have a storyboard director worth their salt or something? But in any case, I will see you guys next time on episode 8. So until then, goodbye.